Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Soaplore. We are going off the grid today. I think it's time to shake things up. Don't worry, we're still going to have a good time. It's going to be soapy, it's going to be sudsy, it's going to be amazing. So, pull yourself up the mandatory bubbly and bright beverage, kick your feet up, and make sure you ain't got nothing else important to do for the next, I don't even know how long. I'm going to say at least an hour. At least an hour of foolishness and fun, okay? I think we all need a breather, don't we? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Soaplore. Hello, gorgeous. Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Soaplore. I think I've said that about 3 times already, so let's get into it. Jet, where are my stories? Where are my stories? They're coming. Trust me. I feel like I've got a sign and I've got to run with this. So picture this. It's about a month ago. I am moving about the day, about to sit down and watch Falcon Crest, and I'm watching it on Plex now. As you know, they took it off Amazon. So as I'm looking on Plex, I notice that they have the feature, which is Falcon Crest, and then right below that they have all of the actors in this particular season. I just kind of scrolled down to see what sort of information I could find. I know usually like on Amazon, if you touch the actors, if you scroll down to the actor's photograph, it gives you a brief little biography about them. That's what I was expecting, but I noticed just below that there were even more films and TV shows. So I thought, okay, let me just check this out. I don't really watch anything else on Plex other than Falcon Crest. So as I tap on Jane Wyman's photo, it brings up all of her movies, all of the movies that are available on Plex. I knew she was a heavy hitter. I knew that intellectually, but I didn't really grasp that thought. This woman is a professional. She's been doing this a very, very long time. So by the time you get to the icon that is the perm rock goddess herself, Angela Cutthroat Channing, it makes sense to me that she might be a little bit of a terror considering the era in which she came up on. So I start looking at her movies and I was absolutely delighted to find out that she was in The Glass Menagerie, Tennessee Williams' play. I remember reading that in high school and I swear we watched a film, but probably not. When I read, I see the movie, so it's like I don't know if I just imagined the whole thing or if I really did watch a film. I believe I probably just imagined it. I would have remembered the film, I think. But I thought, okay, 100%. Let me go ahead and put that on my list of things to watch. I scrolled through a few of the other actors. A lot of them have some really good movies that I plan on watching at some point. So boom. I watched Falcon Crest, go about the rest of my day. I checked some of the comments on some of the other apps, and one of you, shout out to Cool, says, I'd really like to hear you do something more modern. Have you ever considered watching a modern show and reviewing it? You know what, I have, but also I don't really know what's out like that now. So if you guys have any suggestions and that's something you want to hear, please let me know. Not even an hour later, I'm not even joking, I get a piece of fan mail from one of my favorites, and he says, I think you should consider throwing in an occasional review of certain classic dishy movies. I would love to get your take on great cinematic rides such as Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Breakfast at Tiffany's, All About Eve, Harold and Maude, Color Purple, the original, etc. My dear, don't threaten me with a good time. As I'm reading this, I realize that was well over a month ago. Golly, I'm so sorry. I'm so behind, but we getting there. Schedule is clearing, doing what I can. But yeah, don't threaten me with a good time. So I've got a request for more modern and then some of these classic films. I had to go ahead and jump on that. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Breakfast at Tiffany's, All About Eve, Harold and Maude, Color Purple. Thank you for specifying that the original, I just can't even bring myself to watch the new one. Have you all seen the new one yet? I can't do it. The old one is so classic. I probably don't even need to have it playing to review that. I probably know that movie almost word for word. Love every nook and cranny of that film. But I looked at the rest of this list, and ironically, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane and Harold and Maude, I saw both of those, I want to say within the last 2 years, and I really, really liked them. I didn't know what was going to happen on What Happened with Baby Jane. That movie is such a
God, it's such an like understated thriller. I was completely jaw on the ground by the end of the film. If you haven't seen it, oh my God, go watch it. And as far as Harold and Maude, I have heard that reference my entire life. I had no idea what that meant. I just thought it was like another Bonnie and Clyde. I'm at work one day and the tech guy and I were talking. He's so funny. He's like the tail end of millennials, early Gen Z, but he has such old taste. Like he watches RoboCop on VHS. He plays old Nintendo games. So he's definitely an older soul. And he mentioned Harold and Maude, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've never seen that. And he goes, well, do you realize what it's about? Like, I mean, Harold and Maude are bank robbers or something, so I thought. He's like, well, go watch it and tell me what you think. Y'all, that movie was exciting. That was hilarious. And I just feel like such an idiot. Now that I think about all of the references I've heard over the years, I get it now. And I'm not mad at it, so I'm happy to do that. But today, as I look over the list, I have never seen Breakfast at Tiffany's, but I do know Audrey Hepburn is in that. And All About Eve, which I know I've heard of, but I feel like I've only heard of it in reference to like great films. So prepare yourself for a cinematic eargasm. I'm sorry. I heard Rump Shaker earlier today, and I'm pretty sure he says eargasm. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm using that today. This is not the first film that I've ever reviewed, but it is one of the first classic films I've ever reviewed. I am nowhere near the 1950s in my attempt to watch all of the Academy Award nominees, so this is a delightful little pleasure. I am going to record this intro, watch it as many times as I need to, and come back. So I also want to acknowledge that the world is on fire right now, and it is healthy to take a step away when you can. We can only do so much. I know it's hard. I know it's not fun, but I hope that when you come here, when you put your earbuds in or turn me on in your car or wherever you're at, I know somebody's listening to this on the toilet, and I'm gonna have to get over that. That's fine. But if you're listening to me while you put on your lotion and get ready for your day, I want to say thank you, thank you. Also, if you're listening as you go to bed, thank you. I'll try to talk a little softer, but we're moving into new territory. People who love a good soap opera are people who love good stories, whether that's in film, whether that's through an audio device, or whether it's in literature. I know y'all love a good story. So let us gather for the first ever Soaplore Society for Dramatic Arts presents All About Eve. I sounded almost evil as I said that. We need a hoity-toity name for film. If you got any ideas, reach out to me at soaplorepodcast@gmail.com. That's SOAPLOREPODCAST@gmail.com. Or you can reach out in the show notes. What kind of movie society are we? The Velvet Curtain Drama Guild? I like the word guild a lot. Or we could be the Soaplore Society for Dramatic Art. Reading and restoring the love of classic film. Silver screen soap fiends. I don't know. All I know is that we're going to enjoy All About Eve. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Byron, for this suggestion. And thank you, Cool, for suggesting I step outside the box a little bit. I had a blast. I'm not going to lie. I was a little apprehensive when I found the film and saw that it was in black and white. I was like, ooh, I don't really know if I'm going to be able to sit through this. But the minute I realized that it was Betty Davis, I thought, okay, yeah, let's do this. Have I ever seen her in another film? Yes, I have. I saw her in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and she was captivating. She was terrifying. She was hilarious. She was intense. And truth be told, okay, how do I say this? I have a little bit of a, not necessarily, I never had anything against her per se, and I definitely didn't have any negative thoughts towards her, but I knew more about Joan Crawford than I did her, and I knew about their rivalry. I also watched Ryan Murphy's Rivalry. There's a podcast called You Must Remember This, and there was this extensive, I think it's 2 or 3 different parts about Joan Crawford. Loved Mommy Dearest growing up. Didn't realize that it was more of a caricature of her. So as I got older, I started trying to find more films with her in it, and I watched. Is it not Dolores Claiborne? What's the one where she's the restaurant lady, and then she has a real sassy daughter that ends up getting slapped at the end of the movie? Is that Dolores Clay? Whatever it is, I'll look it up here in a minute. I saw her in that and I thought, oh my God, this woman is stellar. That movie's also black and white, but I fully enjoyed it. So my mind is opened. I didn't really have a negative connotation about Betty Davis. I know she's an icon. I know she's got a couple songs about her. She's supposed to be a really heavy hitter. And I only knew her in the context of being somewhat of a competition between her and Joan Crawford. So I'm really glad to dive into a film where she stars and get to see her in her natural element. And this woman did not disappoint. I am in love. I will absolutely watch anything she's in. She was hilarious. I'm really surprised. I really, really, really liked this movie a lot. So I will say, I think you should drink a martini if you have the time. I'm not even sure what a martini is now that I'm a teetotaler. I just don't know what the components are. I know they're delicious. I will have to settle for this Coca-Cola because it's the middle of the day as I'm recording this. But this film requires you drink a little bit of martini. It is absolutely the beverage of this film. Going into this, I don't know what I thought it was about. I can't prove it. I think somebody saw this film and years later was like, yo, Bridget Fonda, Jennifer Jason Leigh, I got a film for you. We're going to redo All About Eve, except we're going to make it 90s. We're going to make it grimy, and we're going to throw in a hell of a lot more sex. All right, y'all, enough of this jaw jacking. Let's see what Eve and them are talking about. The poster is a close-up of Betty Davis. It's about half of her face. So you get to see the arc of her eyebrow, a slight smirk on her face, and those gorgeous eyes sort of staring off to the side. She looks amused. However, All About Eve is color blocked out. The same sort of font you see on There's Something About Mary. Oh, I just now noticed this. It says All About Eve, but the whole title is in quotations. I didn't notice that before. That is actually very telling and very, very clever. Gorgeous, gorgeous. I don't think I want a full poster, but as I watch each of these films, I might get something small just to kind of commemorate every film. Should I say who's in it? I'm gonna be real. I knew two people in this. Two and then one, the third one jumped out to me because I'm like, where do I know this lady from? After all, if this is going to be a society, I better be quite proper about it. Girl, did I say Dolores Claiborne? Oh my God, I am turning into an 80-year-old woman. Oh my gosh. I did not mean Dolores Claiborne. That's the one with Kathy Bates, right? When the eclipse in her ankle or some crap. I meant Mildred Pierce. Dang it, I knew it was somebody's first and last name. You know what I was talking about. All right, where are we? All About Eve is an iconic American drama directed by Joseph L. Mankiewicz, starring Betty Davis, George Sanders, Celeste Holm, Gary Merrill, sorry if I'm saying his name wrong, Thelma Ritter, and a young Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe is in here for about 8 minutes, but she is laugh out loud funny. So when the movie opens, you see this old man holding an award, and he is going on and on about how important the theater is. This is a theater film. We are in the world of stage. We're in a room full of thespians, I'm assuming. And one of the first people we see is this old man who's he's at a podium, but there's also tables on the other side of him. So right away I thought, okay, is this going to be some sort of British royalty? But pretty soon a narrator comes in and he saves the day and he clears up any confusion I have. The narrator is Addison DeWitt. Addison is very snobby. You know this 3.5 seconds in because he's smoking his long stem cigarettes. He is looking up and down very slowly. He is letting the audience know that this is one of the oldest actors ever in life. And this old man is going to talk so long that I have plenty of time to tell you about me and the people sitting at my table. Addison DeWitt is a theater critic, sounds like. He says his natural habitat is the theater. He does not toil there. He is not an actor, but he is a judger of actors. This is exactly where he's supposed to be. You feel that right away, right? The camera pans over, and the next person you see is this really beautiful woman named Karen. Karen looks vaguely familiar, but I think I'm staring so hard at her face as I'm watching this because I'm obsessed with like 1940 movie beauty tutorials. And I think because her skin looks so good, it is like flawless. Airbrush, the contouring is perfection. I think they did the Vaseline method where they did all the Vaseline and they cover your face with the setting powder and then brush it off with a baby brush and then begin to paint her face, kind of like Kevin Aucoin. That's what it looks like to me. She's very poised. She's very lovely. But Addison was like, now this is Karen. Now Karen is married to Lloyd, who is a playwright. So she is in the theater by marriage. She not new. She's not true to this. She's newish to this, but not true to this. She was in a couple of plays back in the day when she was in college, but she ain't really no actress like that. Next guy we see is suffering from indigestion. So he's reaching for Karen's spoon. He quickly pours an antacid into his wine glass, stirs it up, takes it to the head, and promptly falls asleep. Addison informs us that he is the play producer, Max Fabian. He also kind of makes the shady dig like some people can reach out to their rich friends and get some money to produce plays. Other people are broke boys and they're always about to be broke boys or always on the verge of losing something. They have to make a quick buck. The camera then pans over to Miss Thing herself, who I thought was Eve. I was completely shocked. She is Margot Channing, aka Betty Davis. Listen, whoever put her wardrobe together outdid themselves. I can't tell what color this dress is. It could be red. It could be like a burgundy. It could be navy blue. I don't know. It is dark and it is fabulous. And not Max Fabian. Addison is telling us that she is a star. She's been a star. She will always be a star. She made her play debut at age 4, coming on stage butt naked as an angel, and she's been that girl I try not to think about that too much. Interesting that Addison is going on and on about what a star Margot is, but she's not up there getting this award. We pan back to the old man who's going on and on about how old he is and how he's been the maestro for X amount of years, and that they have never, in the history of the Sarah Sigmund Award, had a recipient as young as this woman, as loyal to the art. She is an old soul. She's 100 years old in a 24-year-old's body. Now, this is where you get to see the table. Everybody starts looking at their drink. They look side to side at each other. And this was the moment I knew I was going to love this. I'm like, who are they being shady to? Why are they acting funny? Well, we don't have to wait very long because Eve appears. Once this man finally stops running his mouth, he holds up the statue and he gives it to Miss Eve Harrington. The room stands up, everybody's applauding, the paps go running up to her, taking photos, da 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 da. And when I see the girl, I'm so sorry, y'all. I don't know which lady she is. If she's not, I don't know who she is. She's famous. But I'll be damned if she doesn't look like Mira Sorvino. That was the first thing I thought. I was like, holy crap. She looks like Mira Sorvino and she looks like Michelle Williams. Not Destiny Child Michelle Williams, Dawson Creek, that's Michelle Williams. Heath Ledger's wife. She is so stiff, but she gets up to go and receive the awards. And you look at Margot and you look at Karen and they looking like, So immediately you know something went down. Addison continues to talk about what a star Eve is. Eve has been documented. People want to know what she eats, what she wears. But even he looks amused as he's saying it. Karen is not clapping. Karen is trying to make eye contact. She leans forward, letting the audience see that she has no pores on her face. I'm convinced it's the Vaseline and powder. It is. She looks airbrushed. I'm gonna stop talking about it, but if I can tell in a black and white movie, that makeup is good. So Karen goes into her own flashback, and I'm immediately pleased that we're going to have multiple points of view here. This is going to be a lot of fun. So Karen remembers it's about 6 months ago. Karen lets the audience know that she was a little bit worried that she didn't see her that night. She's seen her every night. This girl is there 6 days a week watching Margot Channing enter and leave the theater without saying a word to her. Well, this is the night that Eve has worked up the courage to say something to Karen, and she's like, I'm so sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I had to say something. Karen's like, girl, don't even worry about it. I was worried I didn't see you. Eve's body language is so uncomfortable. She's very stiff. If AI existed in 1950, she would be AI. No, she wouldn't be good AI. She's like a Stepford wife. Eve lets Karen know that she knows that she's Margot Channing's best friend, and she's so sorry to bother her. Karen's like, don't even trip. You're not bothering me. Eve says, I know, but I see you and your husband, Lloyd, walking out with Margot and Bill. What is Bill like? Karen's like, well, I mean, he's a director. He's who he is. Tell you what, dear, would you like to meet Margot? Oh, I couldn't. He's like, of course you can. So She takes her into the building where we get to slip inside of Margot's dressing room and listen to who she is and how she walks about her day. Margot Channing, her homegirl Bertie, and Lloyd are chitter-chatting. We get to see the acting chops of the great Betty Davis. She is talking to Lloyd, who's the playwright, like, yo, I love this play. It's been fun. I had to put on a southern accent to talk to this reporter. I do this and I do that. Basically, explain that I have range. Can we please jazz up these plays a little bit? Can I stop being a damsel in distress? Can I be just a normal woman who shoots her husband? Right away, you see that she's not necessarily a diva, but this is something that's been on her mind, and it's clearly not the first time that they've had this conversation. Karen has Eve wait outside. She's trying to get everyone's attention so that she can introduce Margot to this girl. Meanwhile, Eve is outside. She's standing on the stage. She's sort of looking out, and she's in awe. This girl has seen every single iteration of this play. She is here 6 days a week. If the play is on 2 or 3 times that day, she sees it 2 or 3 times. I'm wondering to myself, where's she getting all this money? And also, the back of her coat is a little bit grimy. I thought I saw a handprint in blood, but I think that's supposed to be wear and tear because I don't know where this movie is going. I thought she could be an axe murderer. I didn't read anything about this. I just turned it on and decided I'm just going to enjoy this. Karen, although that's her best friend, lets Margot know in no uncertain terms, I'm about sick of you running your mouth about my husband's plays. This is a fantastic play. All the critics dig it. Everybody says you're good in it. You better just, why can't you just be a little bit more hospitable? Margot's like, girl, calm down. You know I'm just talking. That's just how I talk. Karen's point is that not only is the play good, girl, you were that good. You were the reason people are coming in here. This thing is sold out 4 months in advance. People all around the city are beating down the door. You have so many fans, girl. People want to see you. Margot is jaded. She's like, girl, nobody coming to see me. These little hooligans nowadays, they don't stay inside long enough. They're outside running them up. Karen says, well, there's somebody outside right now who's been inside a long time. She wants to come see you. That's when Margot says, that little mousy girl in that coat, looks over to her homegirl, Bertie. Bertie, get rid of her. Karen's like, girl, please, just do me this favor. She's literally seen every single play you've been in. Just let her come in and say, hey, he was outside this whole time. So she has definitely heard everything that they said. But she creepily and mechanically saunters inside, barely blinking, overwhelmed with just awe. She's very stiff. Oh, hi. What a wonderful honor it is to meet you. And it's so funny because Margot immediately changes as soon as she comes in. She is an actress. How do you do, darling? How do you do? Bertie stands out immediately. Bertie is a real one. Bertie is her homegirl who seems to be like her assistant. She is a former vaudeville actress herself. So immediately, she and I are on the same page. She's feeling like Eve was a little bit creepy. Margot says something slick that pisses her off. She goes into the bathroom to keep herself busy. Well, this is Eve's opportunity to explain her fandom, her obsession, if you will, with Miss Margot Channing. Lloyd, who's Karen's husband and the playwright, says, you've really seen this play this many times? She says, absolutely, I have. I've seen Margot Channing that many times. He goes, wow, so you're a super fan. Yeah, I'm a super fan. He goes, well, would you watch her? And he just basically he's like, would you watch her in anything crappy play? She says, well, that's kind of the magic of Margot Channing. She doesn't pick crappy plays. She picks good work, i.e., your work. And they're like, well, girl, I mean, you're a young woman. What are you doing hanging out in the theater all day? She starts to go into her story. It's just, it's a long story, but I was working at a beer factory. Right about this time, Bertie comes bursting out. She's like, damn, it's so serious. Eve grew up in Wisconsin. She's an only child, and she fell in love with the theater very, very early on. She says she just fell in love with the art of playing make-believe. So much so that the make-believe became more real to her than the real life. It was more of an enchanting world that she could adapt in and she could relate to better. Because her folks were poor farmers, she eventually had to drop out of school and go get a job in Milwaukee as a secretary at a brewery. That is a different fell in love with a little theater there. She met this kid, Eddie. Her and Eddie hit it off right away. She was a secretary, he's a radio technician. It was beautiful. Before you know it, Eddie gets drafted into the war. He's sending home letters. I love you this. I love you that. One letter comes. He's like, hey, dude, meet me in San Francisco. So She uses her brewery secretary money, buy tickets to San Francisco, hops on the first thing smoky, and gets all the way over there, only to receive notice from the U.S. government that it ain't make it out of the South Pacific. Margot, Lloyd, and Karen are at the edge of their holding their breath, about to no. And he died, he gone. He decides that Milwaukee is for the birds. She's gonna go ahead and stay in San Francisco and collect Eddie's insurance money, get a little job, and just see what she can make of herself on the West Coast. That when she happens upon the last generation of this play, remember, starring Margot Channing, and she was enamored ever since. Now she knows little details about them through, I'm assuming, pretty readily available publications. She knew that Lloyd had spent some time at the war in the war. I mean, I guess it's all making sense. Now, if they say this woman is 25, the war's over. Okay, she would have been about 20. Okay, it tracks. She could have got married very young. Either way, he is saying that on one of the worst days of her life and one of the worst times in her life, she found solace, she found hope, she found the ability to imagine again what she hadn't been able to do for a very, very long time. And it was all because of Miss Margot Channing in her obsession. Now, this confession moves Margot to tears. Oh my God. God, that's so sad. Same thing for Karen, same thing for Lloyd. They're like, hey, my play is a beacon of light. This is Lloyd thing. I'm like, dang, Margot's probably thinking, yo, because I acted the way I did, this girl she found herself again. And now she's loyally showing up 6 days a week to just support me. How could I ever be so rude? Karen is just like, dang, I'm so glad I let this girl in. Birdie's like, she immediately knows something is off. So before they can get too sentimental and into these feelings, Birdie does apologize, like, I'm so sorry, Eve. That's just how I talk. I'm sorry. I didn't mean nothing by it. Margot says something slick, like, you are a third-rate actress. Birdie's like, if I'm a third-rate actress, how come I closed the first half for 11 years? I'm assuming the first half will play for 11 years. I don't know. But she seems secure in who she is right now, Birdie, that is. She's had an acting career. She is content to be Margot's assistant. And also, she's just not going to take no lip off of anybody. She feels something, she's going to get it off her chest. And that seems to be how Margot is as well. She says whatever she wants, but she doesn't seem to be offended when you say what you want to say back to her. Immediately, I like these people. Immediately. Before the scene can get too sentimental, somebody comes bursting through the door like, damn, I'm leaving in 47 minutes. Are you not ready yet? It's Bill. Bill is Margot's main squeeze, and Bill is also a director. Karen immediately says, Bill, this is Eve. He's like, hey. He continues to go off on Margot. Girl, I have 47 minutes to get to the airport. What is your problem? Why do you look like a junkyard? She's like, thank you, Bill. I'm going to start directing in a week. Zanuck needs me. She's like, oh, you have a new boo? Is that your new boyfriend, Zanuck? He's like, no, you're prettier. She has a playful relationship with her man. He didn't even look over at Eve. And then once he stops talking to his woman, he looks over. He's like, oh, hey, who are you? Karen's like, I just introduced you to this girl. This is Eve. He's like, oh, hey, how you doing? And Eve is starstruck because she knows who he is. That is a director. So she's looking at him from across the room. Karen and Lloyd decide, we got to go on and go. Have fun in LA. Bill, we'll see you later. Margot, we're going to go on and leave. I'll talk to you tomorrow, girl. All right, girl, bye. Karen and Lloyd leave, leaving Eve alone with Bill. Eve had already made quite the impression on Karen and Lloyd. And we hear Karen's voiceover as she and Lloyd leave. Like, yeah, I'll never forget Eve. I can't even remember where we were going that night. But basically, you know that this is the start of something very interesting. Eve begins to make small talk, with Bill. She seems to be challenging his new career move. He's not only directing theater now, apparently he's going to be directing films. And she's like, why? How could you leave this spectacular oasis? This is a theater. Why do you need to go to Hollywood? And he's like, the theater is too constricting. It's one block in one city, and people are so pretentious. Film is everywhere. The world is changing. Theater is a flea circus, weirdo. It's like everything is. Opera is, rodeos, carnivals, ballet. He goes into this really long monologue about the theater not being confined to a wall. It's not just one place. The theater is anywhere talented people go to present themselves, i.e. the rodeo, the Wild West. It can be anywhere, anytime. He's not confined to the confines of this stage. He's going out west. And he was like, well, damn. I mean, I wasn't tripping. He goes on to say theaters for everybody and nobody at all. He's really into this. You can tell he's very intense. He makes sense as a director. And she goes, damn. I mean, I was just saying, I'm just asking. Like, you're successful is what I meant. You're successful here, but dang, you're not gonna go out there and live, are you? He's like, oh no, no, no. I got a one picture deal. I'm gonna go out there do my little director thingy poo, and then I'll be back here. You start to tell right away too that she's not only does she know him well, she reads anything she can get her hands on that is pertaining to the theater and probably these people. Okay. Eve has also made quite the impression on Margot. So Margot invites her to walk with she and Bill to the airport or ride with them in a cab, I'm assuming. And then they're going to hang out afterwards. She's like, I want to know more about you, girl. Let's go ahead and do what we got to do. She is so much fun. She is picking up her fur coat, playing with her pantyhose. You just see this is a woman who is fully secure in who she is, okay? Eve accompanies Bill and Margot to the airport, and in order to give them a little kissy kissy boo boo face privacy, she says, listen, let me check your luggage. Why don't y'all go on ahead? These are the good old days where you didn't have to wait. So they're like, yeah, we're going to take you up on that. They're saying their slow goodbye. Margot is concerned he's going to go out to LA and start falling in love with the young starlet. He's like, you're nuts. I'm going out there to make my directorial debut. That's all you need to worry about. He's like, what's with the hanger on her? She goes, oh, I like her, man. She's making me remember why I got into theater. Did she tell you about how theater is for her? How important it is? It sparked something in Margot, is what she's telling him. He don't care. He's like, well, I'm going to miss you. You're going to miss me. We'll see each other in a month. She keeps goading him about falling in love with somebody young and how they're so pretty out there. And he's like, could you please grow up? Stop being a little kid. I'm only here for you. I'm gonna miss you. She's like, are you coming back? Blah blah blah. You get the point. Well, as they start to kiss, Eve silently appears and follows them up to the tarmac where they finally get to say goodbye with a big sloppy kiss while Eve is chilling in the cut. As soon as Bill leaves, Eve steps in, and not just for the night. Eve moves into Margot's house that same night. But this girl, she knows how to earn her keep. She's not just a house guest staying in the spare bedroom. She wake up, she making breakfast, she's folding clothes. She is Margot's right hand all of a sudden. Mind you, Bertie is still there, observing all of this piece by piece. Eve becomes indispensable within 2 to 3 weeks. The first time we get to hear Margot's voiceover, she is narrating and she's like, this girl was everything. She was my sister. She's my friend. She's my lawyer. She's my cop. Margot's living the good life. She's laying back. She eats cinnamon rolls, honey buns, chicken legs. People calling she don't want to talk to. She didn't have to worry about that anymore. Eve is going to jump on that. She's got Eve and she's got Bertie. So where Margot is sort of resting in this new friendship that she and Eve have developed, it's not only clear that Eve is enamored with Margot, but Margot wants her around not just because she is so useful, but because she reminds her why the theater is important. See, the truth is, we'll get to that here at the end. Well, remember everything I'm saying, we'll get to it at the end. One night in particular, Margot is doing the final bows. She comes off stage, and you see that Eve has tears in her eye. Now, she's not dirty no more. She's got on clean clothes. She's wearing all of Margot's old things. Margot looks over and she says, girl, not you crying again. How many times have you seen this? Eve says it doesn't matter. I could watch that scene a million times and I'm going to cry every single time. Which, by the way, is how I feel about the color purple. So that'll be interesting trying to get through that. They start removing the garments. They go into the dressing room. Eve has got it all decked out. That's what I'm talking about. She's not just some lazy house guest. She has cut curtains. She has hung curtains. She has cleaned mirrors. She has made it look snazzy. Added pillows, all sorts of things. She's like, you like it, Margot? You didn't say nothing. Margot's like, yeah, I love it. It's so good. Bertie is just looking like, okay, that's interesting. As Bertie goes to help Margot undress out of this big, it's like this big debutante, Southern Belle, Gone with the Wind dress. Bertie helps Margot get out of it and Eve insists on taking it over to the wardrobe mistress. I guess she's going to get it cleaned or she's going to clean it herself. So Birdie, not one to hold her tongue, is like, so you know what a union is, right? You know that's why you pay dues and stuff. Well, the wardrobe women have a union, and if you let somebody else do that, do you know the hell you're gonna have to pay? Margot's like, you right, you right, you right. So she jumps up, she runs out of the dressing room to chase Eve, only to find Eve with the dress pressed up to her chest, and she's like doing the bow. She's basically mimicking Margot from a few minutes ago. This isn't creepy to Margot. Nothing that Eve has done up until this point has been creepy to her. It's like she looks at her like it's her little sister. That's her little cousin. She smiles and she's like, girl, that's so cute. Listen, I'm going to need that dress back, or the ladies in the union are going to make my life hell. You don't mind, do you? You don't mind. Okay. This is where the show starts to get interesting. Go on and pour yourself. Let's refresh your drink real quick. I'm going to see if I can figure out a martini. So, Fiends, I am so sorry to cut this off at this point, but I think this is a great stopping point. If you haven't seen the film, or if you haven't seen the film in a long time, I think now is the best time to go and rewatch so that it can be fresh on your mind as we continue to explore this iconic film. Don't worry, your soap operas are coming. Truth be told, I may or may not have ran out of battery while I was editing this, and a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. I refuse to not drop this today. Go ahead and enjoy the rest of your evening. Come back tomorrow, the next day, for part 2 of All About Eve, which I cannot say enough good things about. Stay hydrated, stay moisturized, mind your own business, and keep all of your drama on the silver screen or on TV.